I think what really got me interested in making videos about China and the US and our differences is that we have so many misunderstandings, and usually the misunderstandings are the same. Time and time again, I have Chinese friends ask me the same questions about America. And so, I started, just posting a few videos, not thinking that anyone would really watch, but it was really just for fun at first. So the first video was last year in the spring. We did a video of Americanized Chinese food, and not many people watched it, but I mean we got a few comments, so I was happy. I think it's a topic that I talk about a lot. I talk a lot about with my parents or my friends. I don't think American Chinese food is very delicious. I think it doesn't represent real Chinese food, and I'm kind of embarrassed because most of my American friends say, oh wow, this American Chinese food is real Chinese food, so I love Chinese food, but it's actually really not that good, and it's a problem. I wish we could have like more real Chinese food here in the US. A lot of times it's topics that fans will ask me. It's topics that I'm talking about with my friends or family. It's not. It's just the topics come about very naturally. We don't really like sit in a room and be like, oh, what topic should I come up with today? It's topics that I think are on people's mind.
大家好，我是郭追，我现在在成都四川大学。那为什么来这里？因为我听说了中国大学里面在有便宜有好吃。
We get a lot of questions about university life, both in the U.S. and China. When I went to a Chinese food court, and I was really fascinated. It was very inexpensive. The food was actually quite good. In the U.S. we're used to food that's really not so good. And food that's very expensive, and I think it was shocking to both of us. It was shocking to me that the food in China at universities is very cheap, and it's shocking I think for Chinese people to realize that actually in America our university food is very expensive, more expensive than it would be for going out, and there are reasons why. So we find these topics that are sort of shocking or people wouldn't realize, and I try to explain why. I give my opinion about why this is the case, and most of the time. People think what I'm saying is really informative. I never expected that I would have this amount of followers at the beginning. We would be happy with just a few thousand or 5,000. It was something very part-time. Back then, to film a video, it would just be me having lunch and talking about a topic, so it didn't really take much time. It wasn't really that much a part of my life, but now it's like really taken over, it's taken a lot of time. Well, I meet fans not just in China, but in the US and Russia. I mean, I literally walk around in every city I go to, and I'll meet fans. I mean, literally in St. Petersburg, Russia, there are fans on the street that recognize me. So everywhere.
这是我刚刚买的中药。
So I think the misunderstandings relate to how we originally know about the other countries. So for example, in the US, the ways we know about China might be through movies and other forms of media. And a lot of these movies are maybe Qing Dynasty or like magical movies. And so Americans don't really know much about this modern China, how much China has changed from the past. And so I think that's something that I'd like to personally inform Americans that something we really can work on in teaching Americans that China's way different than what you normally think. And then for Chinese, it's the same thing. Again, a lot of Chinese people watch American movies and consume other forms of American media, and their form of America might just be like, okay, all of America looks like New York. And we also have Ohio, and we have Wisconsin. There are parts of America, most parts of America don't even look like New York, and the people are very different. And I think that's true for both countries. Is that in China, most Americans wouldn't know that there are dialects in China. So people from different cities can be very different, and the food is very different. But America, is also not just like one America. There are many different Americas. when we research these topics, I think what I actually learn about is not just about China, but also about the U.S. When we do, let's say, a topic about Alipay or WeChat Pay, I really think about, let's say, why does America not have WeChat Pay and Alipay? And there's some real reasons. So I've learned so much about China and learn what people think about China, Chinese people think about China. But doing this research has also taught me a lot about myself and my own country and my own culture.
我回来了，我有我的10块美元的中国腰。
One is, I definitely want to produce more and more content. I'd like to work with other collaborators, but I definitely would also like to focus content geared towards Americans. Our content right now is geared towards Chinese people. I speak in Chinese and I present topics that a lot of Chinese people might not know. In the future, I'd really like to present topics towards Americans, teach them about China, and find topics that would interest them. Post on, let's say, some foreign platforms. I think that's really the next goal.